tape, but I can zip tie you on if you want.
Okay.
Anybody want to do a sound check?
That'd be great.
Probably about median height for the group. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Thank you so much for doing that.
No problem. I didn't ask, but not really much choice at this point. Hopefully the sun's not too bad. Hello, 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 hello.
This is what I was born for.
No, I was going to be like this.
I feel like I just walked through the door. Hey, Callie,
Gosh, is it okay if I put my phone right here?
Of course. Yep. Hello, hello. Whatever works. Yeah, there's no real requirements.
Stuff you do over there. And that stuff. There's a lot of stuff you can do. I gotta pick and choose and then figure out, okay, so what stuff is everybody else covering that I should be covering?
Hello, hello. Everybody good sound-wise?
Yep, I am.
One more time.
1, 2, 3, 4. Happy Wednesday.
Okay, yeah, that should work.
Cool. All right, we'll get started in a second.
Oh, okay.
I sent you a picture.
Sorry, that was a lot of Red Bull.
Or actually,
We're good now.
I also did some. Give it back.
I didn't know it.
Someone who's
Oh, I thought it was by height. Yeah, by moment.
Yeah, look good. We're there for ready. Jump in. All right.
A lot of stuff. Stand like one step behind them. There you go. You can be as tight.
Wait, are all three speakers being like up front?
Yeah.
Okay, are you guys ready? Okay, can you hear me okay? Yeah, okay. So thanks so much for being here. My name is Callie Wallace. I am the internal organizer here at St. Mary's with this group for SEIU Healthcare Minnesota and Iowa. I'm also the lead negotiator in the for this contract in 2024. So I just wanted to kind of start out giving you a quick update about what's going on. We've been bargaining for over 2 months now. We started on February 29th was our first meeting. We met yesterday with the employer. Things have been moving slowly before this. 2 bargaining sessions ago, or I guess 3 bargaining sessions ago, we introduced our first wage proposal, and the employer was refusing to give us a counter, which was very frustrating. Yesterday at the beginning of the day, they did not bring a counter for us as well. We ended up having to tell them that we are not able to keep moving on our bargaining without their proposal, without knowing where they are coming at for wages. That was frustrating for them, of course. It was frustrating for us. We didn't want to have to do that, but we were able to push the employer to give us our initial wage proposal for the day. Like I said, this is an initial proposal, so it's not something that will be set in stone. Mayo will be moving up. We know that. We know that we are going to be pushing ourselves for our core demands around wages. They came in with 3% for the first year, 1% for the second year, and 1% for the third year. Like I said, first proposal, that is very normal in negotiations for them to come in low. And but our core demands around wages are the same as they were at Methodist, a $20 minimum wage starting for all of our members, proportional raises for everybody across the board that reflect, the economic realities that we're in right now. And then especially pay parity for some of our classifications like sterile processing technicians and patient care assistants who are currently being paid about $3 an hour less than their counterparts in the Twin Cities who are doing the exact same work. So those are some of our core demands. And economically, we also have demands regarding overtime, overtime caps for mandatory overtime. We have proposals around improving our training programs. We have proposals around floating holidays. This is one of the most diverse groups of workers at Mayo, and we want that to be honored and reflected in Mayo policies for people to celebrate the holidays that are important to them. So right now, we also have a petition that we have been working on, signed by over 500 people, both from our bargaining unit, from union members over at Methodist, and then community supporters. We're going to be turning that in today at the end of this press conference, and also delivering it electronically to the Mayo leadership, who has the power to make the decisions over the demands that we have at the bargaining table. So now I'm going to turn it over to some of our members of the bargaining team who are going to speak more in depth about some of our core demands and core issues as a bargaining unit. So first, I'll start with Ashley Rohr, who is a certified surgical technologist here at St. Mary's in the neurology department. And I will let her kind of speak more about her experiences.
Hello. As Hallie said, my name is Ashley Rohr. I've been a certified surgical technologist here for almost 20 years. For nearly 4 years, we've been working here with severe staffing shortages and excessive amounts of overtime. We have been doing more work with less. These shortages have had a direct link to growing inability to properly train new employees, as well as train current employees in new technologies and procedures. In surgery, there used to be a standard of having a CST in every operating room, and now, due to staffing, they are filling those roles with underprepared staff who don't have the necessary credentials, certification, and training to do the job. Other ways they have filled our roles is by utilizing travelers. Instead of investing in our dedicated staff, Mayo pays travelers twice the hourly salary that our employees make. Meanwhile, our leadership doesn't want them working nights or weekends due to there being less resources available to support them. Travelers are an important part of our industry, but they are not a replacement for well-trained permanent staff. These are just a couple of the issues that we have brought forward during the negotiations as part of our core demands. Better training across all of our classifications is extremely important to all of us. Creating better language addressing travel employees being required to work all shifts, having better language to protect our positions as CSTs, and having language that addresses mandating of overtime hours. Above all, we need Mayo to properly invest in their in-house staff. Time and again, I've heard from leadership and HR to save these conversations for the bargaining table. Well, here we are, trying to negotiate, and many of our core demands aren't being addressed like they should be. We are cautiously optimistic about seeing an introductory wage proposal from Mayo yesterday. While it isn't anything near enough, we are committed to bargaining for more and holding Mayo accountable to our most precious issues. I will now hand off to my coworker, Kayla. Thank you.
As Ashley said, my name is Kayla Mabe. I have been an escort at Mayo for a year and a half. Decent wages are an essential requirement for living in today's world. People need good pay to afford the basic necessities of life, such as housing, food, and healthcare. Adequate compensation also enables workers to participate fully in society, having a work-life balance. Without adequate wages, employees here at Mayo Clinic face financial strain, including the risk of poverty and debt.
Some employees are on the verge of homelessness due to the wages in our lowest paid positions. It is saddening that I made more starting out working at Lowe's selling appliances a year and a half ago than I make now as an employee at Mayo Clinic. That's not to mention the work expectations and toll on your body was far less at Lowe's. Me and my coworkers as general service escorts walk 8 to 12 miles daily on the job, but our wages don't show for it. Through negotiations over the last few months, we have stood our ground for what we as employees deserve. After weeks and multiple sessions of waiting for our employer's introductory proposal for wages in our new contract, we finally got something yesterday that will enable us to keep going and keep fighting for more. Ensuring fair compensation is not just a matter of economic policy, but a fundamental requirement for a sustainable livelihood in today's world. We are calling on Mayo to do right by its employees and address our subpar wages, among other key issues. I will now pass it to my coworker, Mike. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Mike Sinal. I've been a patient care assistant with Mayo's float pool for 10 years. I'm a member of the elected bargaining team for SEIU, and I'm a steward for the union as well. Over the course of the past 2 months, we've been bargaining with Mayo and mostly discussing working conditions and overtime, breaks, and temporary and travel employees not facing the same conditions as our frontline staff do. My work regularly takes me to the majority of Mayo's units. Nurses and our members are struggling with the workload at the bedside. Mayo remains committed to telling our members that they remain committed to remedying this, and yet it has been 4 years. Mayo tells us they are committed to their staff and their members. They have made this claim to the community over and over throughout my career and many others. This time, they need to mean it. They need to prove it. They themselves proudly claim on their website that the diversity of our members provides them with accelerated innovation, better problem solving, enhanced productivity, enhanced job satisfaction, and improved quality. Yet many of our members' holidays are not recognized by Mayo by anything other than a label in the calendar. A workforce that is so diverse cannot operate on the standard Judeo-Christian holidays, so we've been fighting for floating holidays that our members can use yearly, regardless of their religion or creed. Obviously, wages matter too, and Mayo has now sent us an opening offer for raises. Many of our core demands are not being addressed yet, including additional pay for schooling or certificates, but at our most recent session last night, Mayo offered us a 5% increase over 3 years. This is just their first proposal, and clearly not something our membership can support when our wages are already behind. Record inflation and the pandemic have made large-scale wage increases necessary to combat staffing issues, and other industries, employers, and hospitals have already realized this. In healthcare, those staffing numbers make a huge difference. Our members, nurses, and the other frontline-facing staff at Mayo are those same heroes oft-praised 4 years ago. These working conditions were understandable then, and we fought hard to keep Mayo running and the public safe. However, 4 years later, that workload is unsustainable. We're tired. We deserve breaks. We shouldn't need to fight for Mayo's respect or trust or decent wages. We already earned it. We hope to see more movement from Mayo at the table in our upcoming sessions, and we hope to reach an agreement that adequately addresses our core demands. Thank you for your time.
All right, I want to thank our members who spoke here and their powerful stories of the conditions they experience every day working here at Mayo Clinic. So just to reiterate, after this press conference, we're going to be going into the building to turn in our petition. We have another bargaining date next Monday and then 2 more scheduled in May. We are prepared. If we don't get what we need at the table, we're prepared to take it to the next level and do a picket here at the end of May, just like we did at Methodist. Hopefully we don't have to get to that point, but our members here who are here for this press conference, members at the bargaining table, and the members who are inside right now taking care of the patients are ready to do what they need to do to get these demands met. So right now I'll open it up for questions from anybody. So, feel free to just jump out. Danae?
You guys have had 7 bargaining sessions so far. Is
Mhm.
that kind of on par with the amount, or is it taking longer than you?
It's usually about that amount. We're not out of the ordinary with this, but we are moving slower than we would like to. And we're hoping that based on what happened yesterday, we'll be able to start speeding those things up. Yeah.
Are you hoping today's petition will help speed things along a little bit?
Yeah, we're really hoping that Mayo leadership will, have kind of a change of heart in the way that they've been addressing or not addressing our core demands, showing that the bargaining unit is united around this, that the community supports us fully, wanting to make sure that the people who are caring for them at this hospital are being cared for by their employer. So we're really, appealing to their hearts and their minds to get them to come and do the right thing.
Is there any expectation that this process might move along quicker, seeing as how it's a similar contract negotiation to the one that SEIU just completed?
Yeah, so at Methodist, what we just completed in March was just a 1-year wage opener. So it's the 3rd year of their contract. And here at St. Mary's, we're doing 3 full years for our entire contract. So because of that, it does take a little bit longer because we're not just dealing with wages. We're dealing with all sorts of other non-economic working conditions. So that usually does take a little longer. Does that answer your question? Okay, cool.
Can you comment on the downward spiral in the conditions at the hospital? Maybe workers can comment.
Yeah, I would love to pass that off. Ashley, would you like to speak to that? Or anybody else if you would. Okay.
Can you repeat the question?
It says the result of this pattern has proven to be a downward spiral for the conditions at the hospital. Can you comment on the conditions in the hospital as a worker?
So the amounts of overtime that many of our coworkers are dealing with on a daily basis have been very, very high, creating their work-life balance to be at an all-time low. The shortages have affected us in many fronts, having to slow down operating rooms, whether that be closing the rooms, waiting to open them till later. This isn't just even for our bargaining members. This is for all of our classifications here at the hospital that has affected even just what we do here in surgery. Not being able to train has been a really big issue too. We're consistently, in healthcare, you're consistently moving forward with technologies and new procedures and new ways of doing things. And the staffing has been so decreased that we can't even train our current employees in those new technologies, which honestly, it does affect patient care because if I don't really know what I'm doing, I'm going to make a mistake. And we don't want that. And that's a really big, important thing for all of us here, that we want to make sure everybody's competent and qualified to do the work that they do. Does that answer your question?
I've heard that pretty much everybody has to deal with overtime in some sort of fashion on a consistent basis. Some people I spoke with a couple months ago were talking about, having at least a half an hour to an hour overtime on average each shift, with some people going as long as 5 or 6 hours of overtime. I'm just wondering, what's the overtime situation been like for you?
Me personally, being there for 20 years, I don't get as nearly as much as many of my coworkers do. But I know in my department, I have seen records amount of overtime in the last 3 years than I ever have in all of my years here.
When you talk about record,
I'm talking about multiple employees, union and non-union, doing a combination in one department, doing 30 hours of overtime a day. And then that's in a department. So you're talking about multiple staff, but anywhere from 4 or 5 hours out of 3 to 4 of the days of the week. Most employees, if they're, let's say, an 8-hour shift on a regular basis, most of them are working 12-hour shifts most of their days, if that makes sense. So.
Thank you. All right, anybody else have any other questions that we can try to answer? All right. Well, if not, we're going to go walk into the building to attempt to deliver this petition. Like I said, we'll also be delivering it electronically to some of the higher up leadership here at Mayo because most of them work from home. Well, our members are here every day on the floor, putting their lives at risk, taking care of patients. So we will be going inside, but then also delivering that electronically after. So thank you so much.
Haley, I'm sorry. Do you have a
Yeah.
paper copy?
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, yeah, of course.